Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic Ligers, Celtic.
One. Okay, I'm recording.
Why did you say 1, 2, 3 when you weren't recording? Okay, I'm starting the timer. Hello.
Why do you just do your job and I'll do mine?
Hello and welcome to Celtic Ligers, the podcast that is an hour and has no edits.
Yes.
And
Hey.
we're radically uninformed about a lot of things. So don't get mad
No,
at me.
I'm informed. You're also informed.
It could be better. Could be better informed.
You're just doing that classic showbiz trick of reducing expectations.
Yes.
So when you wow people with your knowledge of, for example, the moon landing,
Mm-hmm.
people will be impressed. They'll go, I thought he knew nothing, but instead he knows. It was under
Nixon.
who?
Richard
Yes.
Nixon.
And how many times did they go to the moon?
Three times.
Yes. See, you do know things.
It's stressing me now. You're stressing me out. So here's the thing that's
I'm
on
okay.
Twitter at this very moment.
Okay.
It's called hashtag RTÉgate. Again, we should have hashtag end the gate suffix. So the headline for an article in The Independent that refers to RTÉgate: I'm sorry to everyone who has sacrificed so much and lost loved ones. Quote from Brian Dobson, who apologises for RTÉ gathering. Opening paragraph. RTÉ broadcaster Brian Dobson has offered an unreserved apology for his involvement in an RTÉ gathering that has sparked controversy, as many of the network's flagship presenters were seen posing for photographs without masks and not following social distancing guidelines. So that's it. And there's all these pictures and people are going nuts, and it's literally like Brian Dobson standing next to somebody just being like, I'm posing for a photo, hello, do you know? And I'm just really kind of getting incredibly fed up of, like, I think Golfgate, another gate one, but Golfgate meant something because it was such a vast volume of people and influential people rubbing shoulders and just at a golf thing, the elites just, but like the idea of like a bunch of RTÉ presenters just standing next to somebody with like a balloon, like going like, hey,
Yeah.
wait, you're leaving, I guess, or maybe happy birthday, who knows, I don't care. It's like,
You also sort of hope that everyone in if everyone in RT dies of COVID, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's only going to be good for the country. Whereas, you know, realistically, if all the politicians died of COVID, there would be some disorder.
nah, I'd be happy
know?
with that outcome as well. I know the lobbyists
Well,
in there and dying
it
too,
would've-
you know.
They would affect your life at
Um,
some level.
Yeah, for
Even
the
if
better.
you just had
for
to
the
have another,
better. Yeah.
even if it just meant like another election or,
Oh man.
you know, whereas if everyone in RT died, we'd probably get jobs, you know?
No. They're like the Hydra. You know, you chop off a head, another one grows in its place. Another D4
No,
person
in this
grows
case,
in
they
their
all.
place.
Well, I'm D4, so that suits me. And when I'm in there, I'll give you a job. You can be my janitor.
Yeah.
You can be my personal janitor.
Can I
The most
really?
humiliating job. Yeah.
It's a step on the ladder, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
It's so funny how people think like that. Like, you ever be one of those people who's like, I've always wanted to be an actor,
Yeah.
so I'm doing, you know, copywriting work for a theatre company. Or
Yeah.
they're like doing the lights for a comedy show because they want to do comedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you were like, yeah, I'll just be the guy who wipes up the piss from under the urinals.
Yeah.
Someday, I'll get a job as Brian Dobson's piss drinker.
As the guy who pisses on Brian Dobson.
Yeah, for his OnlyFans.
For his OnlyFans. Speaking of, no, I don't want to segue to there. But like,
That would be a very poor
Yeah.
taste.
but
And I ain't just talking about the taste of Brian Dobson's piss.
can we like check in with Ewan McKenna, the guy I was talking about, who like ostensibly is on the
Ewan
left.
McGregor.
No, Ewan McKenna, who has that whatchamajigger, the Black Eye podcast.
Train spotters.
Black Eye podcast for the Tortoise Shack, where he talks about MMA and sports, but he's kind of ostensibly on the left. and he posted something yesterday, and I don't want to reply to people anymore, so I'm like refreshing, just hoping somebody please reply
it's
to
so
this
good
guy.
when you do.
So like,
What did he say?
Basically something happened. It was about I think it was Katrina Perry was grilling Simon Harris about
Matthew Perry.
Yeah, Matthew Perry was grilling Simon Harris about his approach about God, what was no, I can't remember, but it was something to do with health guidelines. And that was it. No, I have it completely wrong. It was Vicky Ryan, who I believe writes for the Journal. Somebody can correct me on that. But she was posting up things about, I guess, lists of infection rates and stuff like this. I can't remember, but
For what?
For
what?
COVID. What's COVID?
That again.
Let me just see.
We talked about COVID last episode.
Yeah, this is fucking. I know. I'm getting sick of it as well, if I'm honest. You know. But wait. Let me just see if I'll find it here really quickly.
So she's a journalist talking to a young man called Simon Harris, the Minister for Wealth. I mean health.
Yes. No, she's not.
Yeah.
I had that wrong. We're getting the stories mixed up. Let's stop with the misinformation.
Okay, and remember you said no editing, so I just want everyone to be clear that you mix it up 3 times.
Yes. No, I mixed it up the once.
No, then you call him Minister for Wealth. And he's actually Minister for Health.
I thought you did that. What is going on? Okay, here it is. So Nikki Ryan, sorry, not Vicky Ryan, does write for the Journal, reporter for the Journal, and also producer of Stardust podcast, which I've heard is very good, although I haven't, So
I heard it's shit.
Well, the headline that she posts an article, and the headline is Ireland has only one way to avoid entering third lockdown. State must take lead in Europe and pursue a policy of zero COVID. Nikki says,
yes.
Strange that this piece claims that, quote, the government has found it cannot oppose NEFIT, but then goes on to propose travel restrictions broadly in line with what NEFIT suggested and the government opposed. And so she goes, NEFIT obviously can be criticised and it's right to ask questions about whether it is the best vehicle to guide us through the crisis, but that piece also claims it has, quote, almost no expertise in the relevant sciences. So to take a look at the membership list. So she goes down through the membership list and shows that there are people there who are qualified. But then Ewan, so this isn't, Ewan didn't write that article. I think you sounded like you thought that Ewan did. But Ewan commented underneath, 0 epidemiologist, 0 from mental health, 0 from business and other areas. Plus we know Tony ignores them anyways. And it's just this, if you look at his replies, you see like constantly going at Tony Holohan as being like a megalomaniac, of being crazy about like he doesn't understand the health, the economic implications, the mental health implications, and then he's only following like health advice and trying to do this type of, and it's like, yes, like he is, like that's ideally what you would fucking want. I'm not saying they're above criticism, it's just this weird combative approach to the way that NEFIT are approaching this, It's strange, but it's kind of in line, when you see something like RTÉgate, it allows for this type of stuff. Look at them, the elites again, they're at it, like they're rubbish. And it's like, the elites in Golfgate is very different to the elites in RTÉgate, because they're just like people who go on telly and spout the fucking bullshit government talking about. They're bad, I admit, but seeing
they're the people who get paid like 3.2 million for interviewing a fat guy who used to be thin, you know?
Yes.
A guy put on like 20 stone over 10 years and started being a comedian.
But it literally looks like it's like a going away party for somebody. I haven't been able to figure out what it is, but they're literally just there, and it's like they're going away. Oh, sorry to see you go. One person standing next to somebody else in the RT building, and they don't have a mask on, and obviously they're not following social distancing guidelines. Not great, but like, I just defy anybody to say that they haven't done the exact same thing during this pandemic. You know what I mean? I don't think it's the same as a funeral. And also, people have gone to funerals. People are getting to a stage where it's just like fatigued. It's like, I can't fucking do this anymore. Like, I'm not saying it's, an excuse to shirk responsibilities. I just think, like, are we getting to a stage where I really like it's like some weird neighborhood watch where we're like policing the things that everybody is doing. Do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like these are the guys who are like going on the radio, and like RTÉ are pretty complicit in like the lockdown messaging.
Yes.
You know, and it is like it's only a 6-week lockdown. Just chill out in your giant house and talkie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
yeah.
I don't really have any sympathy for how exhausted, Brian Dobson is, considering the amount he gets paid and his role in this semi-state body. It's like, I would be annoyed. I think I think it's bad.
I mean, I think the things that I would criticize about it is that, yeah, they are, if you tune into RTÉ, you tune into News Talk, News Talk isn't implicated in this, but any radio station at the moment, it's literally just policing people's behavior, just saying like, someone talking to Joe going like, I actually saw somebody standing, here, I saw somebody doing this, I saw this happening. Spanish Arch, so look at all the people down there, all this is happening.
So when it's like the people who are curating that media, like, they curate that policing behavior, and then they're out there breaching the lockdown. Like it is only 6 weeks as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not like
they're in the building. They're in RTÉ.
Even worse, you should be wearing a mask if you're in the building.
Well, they're in the lobby of RTÉ. I mean, but isn't that?
You should, if you're in the building, you should be wearing a mask.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it's just them thinking they're above the law. It's just another crowd. Like they're not as important as the people who are at Golfgate, but they're still just rich pricks who think they're above the law. And they're actually more hypocritical, because like at least Seamus Wolf was like, I didn't break a law and I'm a judge, that's the only thing that matters, so kill me, But, like I don't think, like he wasn't publicly out about his beliefs on the lockdown, but like these people are the media, and the media is so vocally pro lockdown and pro all these things, and you have these radio shows, so it'll be like, why do you ring in and tell us stories about single mothers who are, still wiping their kids' nose in public?
Yes, yeah.
And then they're out having a stupid party for someone who they didn't, like... Plus, no one in RTÉ deserves a party. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't look like a party. What it looks like is they were passing through the lobby, and then she asked for a photograph, and then they took it. And then probably continued about their day. There's literally about, looks like there's about 7 or 8 people there. Like it doesn't look like
Well, they should still be wearing a mask.
No,
they should still be. They should still be executed.
Yes. I guess what the way that I'm seeing it is that no, because you're right. Everything you said there is correct, and they should be held more accountable than most. I'm just saying that they.
Thank you.
I think it's the public reaction.
Okay, we can move on now. No, go on.
I'm just saying, the public reaction. I'm just fed up of this type of thing. Look at this.
Yeah.
We're getting out the measuring tape. Did you know this? And you should have known. You should have known better. And it's like, I was in a pharmacy today, and it's like there are signs on the ground to say, walk around the shop in this way, stay this many meters apart, wear masks at all times. And you still have old guys just walking straight down the middle of the aisle in between groups of 3 people with the mask down under their nose. It's like people are following the guidelines, and then they arbitrarily break them, and then it's kind of it's like this is for a photograph, or just to be all right, fine, and then go about the rest of your day. I mean, I don't know what the party was
I think it's because it's with these people, it's it's a symbolic anger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's relates that sense that there is some sort of disparity between how the rich are dealing with this and how the poor.
Yeah.
So this is just a catalyst for that.
Totally.
What we're seeing is a situation where, just passively, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer.
Yeah.
Particularly people with as much money as fucking RTÉ execs who get paid huge money.
Yeah.
And Brian, how much does the world's worst broadcaster Brian Tuberty get paid?
I don't know. I can't remember.
8 billion a week?
8 billion a week.
So he is just raking it in, because he gets his income, he's less expenditure, he's probably fucking invested in Amazon. Do you know what I mean? His money's making him money, So, like, when you see people like Brian Dobson breaking the law even a little bit, it's just like, well, I'm going to come down to them like a ton of bricks because I know they don't give a shit about me and I just want to be angry for a minute, you know?
Yeah, totally. Well, that's what it is. Like, really. I mean, but it, you know. Yeah, I mean, having said that, he came out and apologized first thing on this morning, and I didn't even know that the item was, you know, an item until this afternoon.
But he
you know?
should have committed seppuku, or whatever it's called.
He should have cut himself on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He should have cut off his hair on TV.
Yeah, just shaved his head, just a half of the side of his head shaved off, and you know.
And then he's like, actually, this looks cool.
I'm getting, you know,
I look like Skrillex.
I'm getting somebody to flog me publicly, the soles of my feet. I'm gonna make them bleed for you.
And then he's like, actually, I like this.
Yeah, that's the worst part.
I didn't realize how much.
Like
he likes being publicly humiliated.
Yeah, all those people, they you know, they're numb, so they need people to like cut them or, you know, hit them with the fucking bag of doorknobs or something, you know.
That's it. He's like, have you ever seen American Psycho?
Yeah.
Well, I want you to be Christian Bale.
Yeah.
To me, any woman in that film.
Yeah.
You know,
just
cut my head off.
Yeah.
Drop a chainsaw down a flight of stairs on top of my neck.
Yeah.
All that sort of, all the good stuff.
Man, I gotta see that movie again. I forgot about that bit.
Why do you want to see that bit?
No, there's more to that movie than I thought. Like, I remember seeing it and I was like, I just have this moment where, like, I think we talked about it on a now deleted episode, not because it was controversial, because it was too long and meandering, but like me reading books and feeling like I have to win at reading the book. I have to beat the book, you know? But I had this same kind of impulse with films where it's like, I got to watch the film that you know, those top 100 lists or whatever. So
yeah.
I'm sitting and watching this movie, but I'm not actually like enjoying the movie. I'm just like, yeah, come on, let's, you know, I guess this is meaning, this is...
This means that. Okay, I get it. He's a psycho.
I'm just like, it's important to watch this movie, so I'm watching it. But I wasn't watching it for like, to kind of like, you know, look at it and be like, oh right, what's happening, or there's things in this movie that are going on. It was just like I was watching it as kind of because I was supposed to watch the movie, you know.
Yeah. I only read the book.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah. Do you know what's another book?
What?
The Vaccine.
Yes, of course.
Of course. How did you not guess that? That was actually such a hint.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I was just teeing you up. I knew that you were going to say it, but I just allowing you to say it, you know.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'd rehearsed that.
Yeah.
No, I was just reading about the vaccine yesterday, and I got excited, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna read about the vaccine, and then afterwards I was like, pretty depressed about the whole thing.
Yeah. Even like the stat, they were like, "Oh, it's 95% effective." I was like, "Yeah, I don't." It needs to be that 5% needs to be whittled down greatly before I'll be, you know, elated or anything.
Well, like apparently the normal flu vaccine is only 60%.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh well, there you go. I mean, I didn't know that. Okay, that's interesting.
So here's what I know about the vaccine. Because I feel like everyone's just talking about the vaccine, but I haven't heard anyone explain it.
Yeah, no, I'd be that person.
So it's like, this new vaccine, it uses this new technology to make it, you know the way they're always talking about like, vaccines mutate and you need to develop new vaccines?
Mm-hmm.
Viruses mutate and you need new vaccines. So this one's like easy to change. But apparently the big thing now is that like, by this time next year, they'll have produced 2 billion vaccines.
Okay.
Right? But you need 2 vaccines, 2 shots to make it work. And the other thing is that it has to be kept at minus 70
Jesus.
degrees.
Yeah.
Which apparently is like incredibly cold.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the other thing is that in order to make something, like, you basically have to custom build a supply chain for a vaccine like this. Because, like, it needs to be kept at minus 70 the whole time.
Yeah.
So you need to like build trains and build, airplane storage and all this sort of stuff.
Hmm.
And then you also need like, they were just saying that basically like everything's going to go through the roof because
Yeah.
like you'll need all the like syringe technology. It's like there's going to be a shortage on glass basically and syringe needles, and just seems like it's going to get developed, but I think by the time you and I see it, it's going to be like 2022.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, like, one other thing
The other thing is they're not even, one thing they're not sure of, because they've sort of sped through a lot of the research, so like at some levels it's just like these trials don't have to wait to get funding, so that speeds things up. Like 60% of the time spent in clinical trials is just waiting to get funding.
Yeah.
So obviously that cuts down time. But the other thing is that they don't know how this is going to affect like elderly people or people with compromised immune systems. And they also don't know how long the vaccine's going to work for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically the advice is like don't get your hopes up, because like they could find out that the vaccine only lasts 6 months, or a year, or that it's never going to be suitable for the elderly, or all this sort of stuff. It's just going to be like, I don't know, all the stuff I was reading about, even in the Financial Times, they were like, they were saying like people have started dumping their stocks in things like Pfizer, or in things like streaming services. And now they're putting their money back into like Disneyland and real life attractions like that.
Yeah.
But they're saying now that like that mightn't be that mightn't be the smart move, because like that's assuming that this vaccine will work as advertised. But there's
It's
a
so
lot of evidence showing
impulsive.
that.
I mean, the other thing about it is, as soon as it was announced, apparently Britain like just bulk bought like such an insane amount of it. And there is such like, they basically bought far too much for a nation of their size, Like, I think that, it still won't be sufficient to cover the entire population, but it's almost like there is such a limited supply of it that it seems to be seen as depriving people in the global south of the vaccine. But then other people are saying, well, the parts that are worst hit are unfortunately all these awful people in the global north or whatever west, whatever the fuck. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, all.
I mean, you'll probably. I wonder how much like political unrest you'll see, because like it's such. If you have this new vaccine that's curing a disease, and it's in limited supply, and you have countries fighting over it to get their economies back on track. Like, do you remember when masks and ventilators were in short supply?
Yeah.
And you had like America just stealing other people's boats and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
pretty
insane.
sure.
Yeah.
Like, you had almost legitimized piracy, and now you have the vaccine, and it's like, you have a country, say America, it's like fucked in terms of the economy until it reopens.
Yeah.
So is Europe. Europe's probably worse than America. Are they just going to be like going off the rails, stealing other countries' vaccines and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about, environmentalism, and you were saying as well, because I was at one point talking about, like, do these people not feel compelled to protect vulnerable people? And, first of all, let's say their voting base is elderly, or, the having a disease that ravages through things is likely to mutate, maybe could be causing, however many deaths now, but could be there's all the things that could factor in, and you would not get to a self-preservation stage at some point where you're just like, we need to protect people because we mightn't even have people to govern, the worst case scenario. But you were like, they like they're not thinking about that. They're thinking like a solution will come along. And of course, the first hint of a solution, the media is just like, they got the vaccine, we can start preparing, we're going to be opening up soon, things will be going back to normal. And it was like, well, hold on, exactly as you say, the infrastructure isn't really there. Like, what does it mean? Like what are the logistics of all this? And especially on a pandemic scale where it's all across the fucking globe,
Yes.
It's like, it's incredibly short-sighted. And then what you were saying there about the Financial Times going like, yeah, you don't take your stock out of streaming services just yet. It's like, that's almost the perfect analogy for that way of thinking. Like, that's just their entire way of thinking is just viewed through this prism of like, how do we protect this arbitrary thing called the economy at all costs? You know what I mean? This thing which is just actually doesn't tangibly exist, that we just have put worth onto, Like, I understand the need to maintain these systems that are there because they actually do have real world consequences for people, but like, it's such a weird priority,
lack of perspective.
Because you're seeing how the thing that makes them animated, as soon as there's a potential to protect the economy, then it's like, we're all guns blazing, let's get the fuck in there, let's do this. And it's like, where was this a few months ago, man? Like, this is insane.
I know. Like, one thing I found out I didn't know is that Russia has been saying that it had a working vaccine.
Yeah.
Call it Sputnik 2, or it was some weird name like that. And it's had it for weeks or months.
Yeah. And I remember this was like ages ago I heard this, and Putin was even saying he was going to have his daughter take it.
And like, why didn't we, like, why weren't we getting excited over that? Like, people didn't trust it, but like, basically people didn't trust it because they said the efficacy rate was too high for it to be real. But now you have this one produced by Pfizer,
95%, and it's a private company. Like, it's
it's like, why is Pfizer more reliable? Like, Big Pharma is like the least reliable company, industry in the world, one of the most ruthless. Is it really less ruthless than like Russia?
Yeah, the weird Russia stuff is like it's amazing how much that got. Russia's always been like shit. Obviously, I'm not defending Russia.
No,
well, it's not always been shit. I'm just saying Putin is a fucker, and there's the stuff that he's done is, like he's murdered political opponents allegedly, and he's, not that I think Putin will sue our podcast or whatever. He's done disgusting things like
allegedly.
Yeah. But
invaded the Ukraine. Yeah, allegedly.
Like, awful, disgusting stuff. But the weird kind of like, but he's not alone on the world stage as being a fucking horrible despot, and so yeah, no, I guess that's it. I guess the thing that happened in America just echoed out, where it's like they couldn't accept responsibility for losing the election, so it was Russian hackers, even though that the Russian hacking was fairly fucking benign. It was the same stuff that like Brexit did, but like there isn't that, that the Brexit campaign did, except it's not that there's not that sinister KGB like, oh, say hello to but that's Putin for me,
like, the Russian stuff was basically the same. It was just a Democrat version of what Trump is doing at the moment, where he's like, actually it's Cuba that is hacking America. Have you been following that?
No, I didn't hear that. That's funny.
They're like, there's so much communist money. Yeah. Basically, that bribing, like, basically they're claiming that there was a leftist interference in the election. God, it's just a quick thing. It's like Rudy Giuliani he was mayor of London or of New York during 9/11. He is like the head of the legal team
for Trump. Yeah,
and he was in court there arguing on behalf of the Trump campaign about the about how the election was fraudulent. Yeah. And like, he completely lost his mind. He had like a Joe Biden type moment where he was like, kept getting the judge's name wrong, and he was like, and we all know why I'm here, and it's because that man over there who keeps getting angry at me, and I can't remember his name, is wrong. Like, he would say things like that. He described someone as the guy who keeps getting angry at me.
It's funny because like people, and then also famously his hair dye was dripping down the side of his face.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Like he's gone mental.
Well, his eyes look like he's got like fucking cataracts or something. Do you know? Well, not cataracts. It's not white, but you see, like I was looking at him and it was like they looked like pinholes in a doll or something. They just like show the like nothing there, and there's a big silver line around them. He just looks like he's out to fucking lunch, you know. But
he is.
But they like the one other thing that was mentioned during the week, I think it was like Josh Weinstein or Bill Oakley, one of the writers on The Simpsons during some of the heyday seasons, who said like, oh, stop comparing him to Lionel Hutz, because Lionel Hutz was actually a decent man at heart. And I was like, no, he wasn't. Another example of the kind of Ron Swanson effect is the character who started off as like a libertarian, or in Lionel Hutz's case like a bad character, now they have the exact same politics that I do, even though they definitely wouldn't, you know. But
it's such a weird take. They're like Rudy Giuliani, or what's his name? Lionel Hutz would not like Rudy Giuliani. Yeah, you know.
But like what you described there sounds exactly like something Lionel Hutz would do. You know? Oh yeah. That's why you're the judge and I'm the law talking guy. You know. What about one of those bad trial thingies, you know? A mistrial?
Yeah, I rest my case. Yeah. Sorry, I thought that was just an term of speech.
Yeah. The bar was, this might shock you, as it may shock the rest of the court, but I'm not wearing a tie at all. That's one of the best ones. Or even, of course, there was somebody pointed out in the comments, because of the website I was reading that thing about the Simpsons guy saying like, no, Lionel Hutz is good. They were like, they quoted the part where it's like, ooh, Judge Snyder, he's kind of had a thing for me ever since I accidentally ran over his dog. Well, replace the word the word accidentally with repeatedly, and the word dog with son. So he's like a murderer, you know.
Yeah. I know.
Anyway, it's so stupid. It's so bizarre. It's just the thing that happens now where it's like, I don't know. Trump has ruined everything.
We're just waiting for Biden to get in so he can like install Silicon Valley into the Labor Department. Yeah. And I think we talked about this in the deleted episode, but it's like he's appointing like someone who was like not the head of Uber, but someone pretty high up in Uber.
Yes.
As the Labor, the manager for the Labor transition team.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's like pretty much in bed with the oil industry. He's going to be in charge of the environment.
Yep.
The other one is whoever it was, I can't remember her name, but she was basically led the way at the border they've been separating families.
Yes.
So when they lock up, just for listeners, when they lock people up coming into the country, they've come in illegally. They've been putting them in cages at the borders, and that started under Obama. And the woman who was doing that, she was basically a human rights campaigner. Then she got hired by Obama, and her whole like raising a bean turned into like, actually it's fine that we're locking people up in cages, and it's also fine that we're locking up parents separately from their children, because the law's the law. And basically Biden's hiring her again.
Yep.
And it's like, why are you hiring the person who like locked children up in child-sized cages?
I think it's not just the people, the new people he's hiring. It's the people that they're rehiring. There was this argument with Obama when he came in. Like, he ran on a grassroots campaign and was meant to be like this hope, change, this type of stuff. And then he went in, and it was kind of actually like what happened with the Trump thing. It was like, oh shit, what do we do? We're so new to politics. We were born yesterday. Let's just hire the Clintons, because the people the Clintons like, because that makes sense. They were in office before. And then they just carry out this kind of austerity program and dismantling of all this shit and do all the stuff, and then they lose their supermajority after after they bailed out the banks, and continue to try and compromise. Although I don't even know if you could call it compromise anymore. Like, one of the passages that was in Obama's new book, apparently, which was meant to make Mitch McConnell look very bad, was he approached Mitch McConnell and told him, like, no, this will benefit people, and we need to pursue this policy or whatever. And Mitch McConnell was like, you seem to be under the mistaken impression that I care. Like, he's like, I don't give a shit. He's basically saying it to his face. Like, he's told him as well, he said publicly, our goal is to deny Obama a second term. He stole a Supreme Court justice from Obama. Every single thing about this man is like, I am not going to compromise with you. I refuse to compromise with you. It's not fucking happening, Yeah. And so Obama's like, no, but we can reach across the aisle, and we can sit down. And then people are like, oh, how naive. And it's like, is it naivety? Or is it like, this is what the agenda that he wants to carry out? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the difference at the end of the day? Do you know?
Well, I can imagine it being naivety, but like, also, it's more to do with the fact that, like, Joe Biden saw what happened to Obama.
Yeah.
Like, he saw Obama, say that was an earnest strategy. Obama, for some reason of idiocy, is like, yeah, I'm going to spend 8 years trying to compromise with these people. And then Joe Biden saw that, because he was vice president. And then he's like, yeah, I'm going to spend the next 4 years compromise with these people. Like, Joe Biden's advertising, he ran on exactly the same platform.
Yeah.
As he saw fail. So, like, with Joe Biden, there's no ambiguity there. Like, he is running on the conservative platform.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no two ways about it. He's just like, I want to run like a pre-Trump conservative.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, Bush in 2000. Even like, it is pretty much like Bush in 2000.
He's running like a Tea Party member almost. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like, he's running, like, think about who the Tea Party people were. He's like Mitt Romney.
Paul
or like,
Ryan, was he?
Yeah, or the other guy. Like, at the very least, he's like your man John McCain. I know he wasn't a Tea Party guy.
No, he's John
guy,
McCain.
Like,
he's 100%.
Yeah. John McCain with more brain tumours.
with less
brain function.
Somehow less brain than John McCain, even though John McCain had a big chunk of it removed. But no, there was. I guess the point I was trying to make with that, like, there was an excuse that you could make where it's like, oh, we were naive, we didn't know people, we took the cabinet from the people, the grown-ups who knew what they were doing, and now Biden, he is more right-wing than Obama, but it is a continuation of that same project. So it's you don't have that anymore. Now it's just mask off. It's like, no, actually, even when we employed these people the first time, we might have done it because we fucking liked it. You know what I mean? We just liked those guys.
Yeah, I just made that point. And
did you just make that point? Sorry.
Yeah, I literally just made that point.
No, that's agreed. What I was like. I was saying the point, and then I was cut off by you. Maybe you said it, but I just put a pin on it, and I just made it very clear what was happening.
Okay.
That wasn't it. What was? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. If you insist, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying. Well, that was the point. Whatever. Fuck it. I'm stopping talking. I'm sorry. I should have been paying more attention. Sometimes that happens though, where I like have a wording of the point, and I have it so stuck in my head that I think that it's a different point, and I just say it.
Yeah. That is good though. I think. It means you're passionate.
But speaking of Biden,
Hunter Biden.
Yeah, you were telling me about Hunter Biden the last day, and it sounded very funny.
Oh yeah, so I thought everyone knew about this, and then I got really concerned when people didn't. Not because it's so important, but like, basically, it's like the first major censorship by Silicon Valley, by Twitter and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been so successful. So, I don't know, months ago, Hunter Biden, who is Joe Biden's son, and he's on the seat of like Ukrainian oil company that was set up with the goal of like being a financial harbor for whoever runs the Ukraine
Mm-hmm.
is. So he's like a soft power in Eastern Europe. He's in a position of soft power in Eastern Europe, and he's basically part of like the Biden strategy for global politics, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He left his laptop into a laptop repair shop and then never collected it for some reason.
Yeah.
And then the guy was like sold on the laptop that after like months. The owner of the shop just sold it on, and somehow it got into the hands of Rudy Giuliani, who leaked the photos around the laptop to the New York Post, right?
Yeah.
And the pictures were like obscene. They were like Joe Biden or Hunter Biden fucking a prostitute in the mouth, and her like with a cigarette still in her mouth, and just like asleep in bed smoking crack, which is insane.
Yeah.
And then there's loads of stuff like that, like loads of pictures of him having sex or completely naked. And it's like, not that any of that stuff is necessarily wrong, but it's definitely compromising, you know?
It's fucking newsworthy. Like,
Yeah,
if you had
and, like-
something like that on, like, Donald Trump Jr., you'd be that would be page one, like, you know?
Exactly. So what happened was that the New York Post published the article, and then they got locked out of their Twitter
Did Matt
account.
Taibbi write that article?
I
believe
for the
that-
New York Post.
Yeah, honestly, I think Matt Taibbi shopped the story around, but nobody would pick it up but the New York Post, and he's the one who ended up writing it for the New York Post. I could be wrong about that.
Really?
Yeah, let me see.
But they got locked out of their account.
Yeah.
Then people were like trying to retweet it, and they found that they couldn't. And then people were like trying to tweet it themselves, and the link was blocked, and it was like blocked from being posted on Facebook or sent through like any of these DMs. At least that's what a lot of people reported. And it was just Silicon Valley, most likely at the behest of, you know, the Democratic Party with Joe Biden. We're just like, no, you're not allowed to share this. We're putting the clamp down on this. So it's just what is so weird is how successful. Like, it showed that now Silicon Valley have like the power to censor things, you know, successfully. And it's like people claim that they're a private company, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But they've placed themselves at the center of like information transfer in societies to such an extent that like it's almost gone beyond, oh, they can just do whatever they like, because now they can just suppress news stories for political gain, you know?
Yeah. I wonder what the phone was like when it was created. You know what I mean? Like, does it become a thing where... Because now it's like, we have Air here, you know, like that's like a national phone thing that does broadband and whatever, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, think about what happened with electricity, is that
Yeah.
it used to operate in private grids, and then they were unreliable, and they also would like jack up the prices, and
Yeah.
a lot of people couldn't access them
Yeah.
because it was too expensive. So the government were just like, well, it's better for society if the government runs this.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, you know?
That's what I mean. Like, now you have, like, with the internet, it feels like that should be a similar thing, although it also makes me feel very anxious about the idea of a state-run internet. But anyhow, the idea of at least social media platforms that have a responsibility, it's like, you know, I think it's, for years, Trump has tweeted bullshit, racism, inciting hatred, all this type of stuff that would have gotten him banned if he were just somebody who had about 50 followers, you know? But they kept it
Yeah.
all up there, and then only in the last few weeks of the election have they started like flagging his posts with like, this is not true, this is a lie, this is, you have to click into it to view the post and all this type of stuff. And then you couple that with the Hunter Biden story being suppressed. I also would say I have reservations about how relevant the Hunter Biden images are and the stuff that happened there. The Ukrainian deals are the most important part. and they clearly didn't get reported on enough. But the idea of him like struggling with addiction and having these photos of him in compromising positions, it's kind of like, you know.
Well, I mean, they didn't withhold them for moral reasons. Like, my point about them, like, describing them is that, like, you know, Hunter Biden's a political agent.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
and they're like could so obviously be used for like a variety of ways. You know, like they're just politically meaningful.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not like Twitter were like, oh, we don't want you to see pictures of Amy Winehouse when she was, you know, in her last days. They were just like, for political reasons, we're going to withhold these photos. Yeah, you know.
And no, I think that all that is completely fair, and like, but now we're in a situation where it seems like everybody's, you know, all sights on this one target, Trump. So anything to get him out of office is justified, and they don't realize the ways in which they're compromising stuff in the future, you know, because, you know, exactly as you said, like. This is on the previous episode that we talked about this does no longer exists, but you were talking about this in relation to, let's say, somebody like Jeremy Corbyn, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to say that point, or, you know.
Well, yeah, my point was that, like, we are seeing how by kicking someone off a platform or by preventing a story from being shared on a platform, you're sort of successfully censoring it, you know?
Yeah. And you're not giving an opportunity for somebody to rebuke any of the claims made against them or something like this, or...
Yeah, so if you were to say if they got Jeremy Corbyn kicked off social media, it would be probably a more effective way of censoring him than suspending him from the party. And, like, I don't know, like, at the moment you have this time, particularly in America, where the government are really trying to wrestle with how much control they have over the social media. Like, there are all these meetings before Congress and all this sort of stuff where they're like, you've done this, is this right? Like, we need you to basically monitor yourselves.
Yeah.
And is this like, are the Silicon Valley types, are they just showing that they can play ball with the ruling elite? You know, are they just saying, like, you know, oh, don't be worried about us. If something you don't want up there is there, we'll take it. Yeah, you know.
I think the other thing is, I was reminded there, as you said, that of recently the Grenfell inquiry, which should be like massive news. I don't know if you've heard about this, but they were the inquiry, and they've now gotten to the people who made the cladding. Okay. Basically, the cladding for the outside of the Grenfell Tower was revealed to have been flammable, okay? But then it was flammable, but they passed a safety test, okay, by wrapping the flammable material in unflammable material, or inflammable material, or whatever. What's the word? Do you know what I'm talking about? Stuff that is non-flammable, okay? But so that's... But then they sold the thing on without letting people know that the reason the material for the cladding was non-flammable is because it was wrapped in another material which was non-flammable.
Right.
So, but what happened is, this was mentioned on Novara yesterday. They went into detail with it. It's completely disgusting. What happened, and people's lives lost for fucking pennies. Do you know what I mean? But pennies in the... It's just money. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even have to be pennies. It doesn't have to be any amount of money. It doesn't matter. Do you know? But anyhow, they were talking about that the reason is because the company that was making the material was basically... what's the word I'm looking for? But quality assuring itself, do you know? So it was responsible for these type of fire safety compliances and the tests that it was doing. So if they could, they basically approved themselves that, oh, actually this is non-flammable, but then neglected to mention the reason it was non-flammable is because it was wrapped in this other material, because it would have cost them money to do so, you know, or made them less appealing to consumers. But that's what happens when you are responsible for your own quality analysis, you know.
Yes.
So
exactly.
they're coming to, you know, Silicon Valley, and they're like, you really need to police your own platforms better. It was like, why? You know what I mean? They're only going to police them in a way that benefits themselves. So why can't you come up with like a government body to kind of get involved in that way? I know it's dangerous territory there, but I mean, I just fucking, you're getting to I don't know. Yeah, it's so dangerous, because you're thinking about like the thing that makes the internet great is kind of, for want of a better word, lack of regulation. Like the ability to be able to go up there and to have because you just worry about what the stuff that people deem as inappropriate, or stuff that people shouldn't see, or that they deem as lies, you know.
Yes.
Because it's you just have to wonder how those tools will be used against the left. Because what was it? Something there I was going to say.
Yeah, well, just like, it's getting to the point now where the companies are getting so powerful that we're going to see regulation anyway. It's either just going to be from the companies themselves, it'll be like regulation to protect themselves.
Yes, yeah.
Or it's going to be government-led regulation.
Yeah.
So, like, the era of the free internet is over. It's just sort of like, who's setting the terms?
Yeah.
Is it us through a democracy, or is it like a flawed democracy, obviously, but
yeah,
or is it
that's
just the
true.
companies
I mean,
themselves?
that's it. Yeah, like for pure profit.
Like I don't know, if the internet was government run,
yeah,
they're probably, ideally, I don't know if they'd actually do it, but you could have like levels of encryption. Like, say the government runs the post office, right? But the government doesn't read all your posts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
you could theoretically have systems like that where the government is running something and it understands the system, but it doesn't understand the actual content in a meaningful
Yeah, there's
way.
enough kind of barrier. Like, well, one time I went in for a welfare card, and the guy was like, "Oh, you need to take your picture for this and all that." I was like, "Oh, geez, this is all about 1984," and he was like, "Nah, like, we're all in different departments. None of us talk to each other. This information might be useful if we actually had some coordination here, but we don't." He's like, and he said, if the Americans had it, that would be a different story. Do you know what I mean? They'd be able to do something with this, but in Ireland, it's no.
Yeah.
Do you know? So yeah, if there are, exactly as you say, yeah, state-run institutes, they're not reading all of your posts, but you just need to be sure that, you know, because this also like is a blueprint. The Hunter Biden thing is a blueprint for how they could potentially misuse this technology for their own political gains. Do you know? Like,
oh yeah, big time.
Like
Say, I mean, an example could be like with Prop 22. Say the past, like, destroyed workers' rights.
in
You know,
California.
there's bit of an editorialization there, but you know, it's not exactly untrue. And one of the things that the companies did was that, you know, when you were using Uber,
Yeah,
you got all this pro Prop 24 stuff.
yeah,
Basically, any platform you use, there's a lot of pro Prop 22 stuff.
yeah.
So there they boosted something, but what they could also do is weaken the signal of another thing. So instead of just boosting pro Prop 22 stuff,
Yeah,
they could mute all anti Prop 22 stuff.
yeah.
You know?
Well, that's what they do. They throttle, you know, the paid function on Facebook. It used to be I put up a post and whatever. All my friends saw it, and maybe they shared it with their friends, and then those people saw it, and like you literally had engagement on like a Hackfest thing. Would be Hackfest is the animation festival I do, by the way. wearehackinc.com. But it would have like 400, 500 people see it, and then maybe like 150 people showed up to it. And so in the heyday of the festival, which was like the first 3 years, you had about like 150 to 200 people showing up to it. Now you'd be lucky to get like 50. Do you know what I mean? Because the ads were so throttled. Like, not even my friends would see the posts, you know?
But they were like, that's like essentially neutral, you know? Like, they're just saying you need to pay to use this platform.
Yeah.
But imagine if it was like...
Yes, exactly.
They promoted Finnegan stuff for free.
Yeah.
Or they, you know, muted PvP stuff for, you know, to benefit the main three parties. You know, it could be something like that.
I mean, it's similar to what happened with Corbyn as well, where the Labour right micro-targeted ads at Corbyn and his acolytes, you know, or his associates, so they were made to believe that the ads that they were asking for were getting out there when actually they were the only ones seeing them. This select group of people.
But you see, that's not, again, it's not politically motivated by Facebook.
No, but I'm saying it again, it's a blueprint, it's something that could happen. And then again, like if the government took over something, well, no, I guess it really doesn't, with the government, doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. No, it's just saying like these companies try to present themselves as like apolitical.
Yeah.
But eventually you're going to see like political biases. It's like the way Big Oil probably positioned itself as apolitical at one point, and then when it realized that the Republican Party was more on its side than, you know, the Democrat, it really aligned itself there. So similarly with Big Daddy, you could see like a political alignment.
Yeah, and it serves them because, like, I mean, back in 2008 when Obama was running, like, he was one of the first kind of candidates to run using social media platforms, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that there is a relationship there that they kind of is a quid pro quo type thing, you know? So it doesn't suit them to be in the hands of... The Democrats are happy to not have much government oversight into what happens on social media. They'll do endless kind of inquiries and investigations and committees to try and figure out how they can make it better, but the only thing they won't do is nationalize the services, you know?
Yeah, I wonder what our approach in Ireland would be, because like Ireland's really trying to extend, like make itself more appealing to companies to move here. And then one of the benefits of that for us, potentially, is that if their base is here, a lot of our court rulings will become sort of EU wide. Yeah. You know? So theoretically Ireland could have quite a lot of sway over how tech companies have to treat their consumers, you know? So like we could be on the cutting edge of, you know, essentially consumer rights or consumer protection. Or we could just let them away with anything they want. We could use that to say, hey, move here and we'll make sure we never do anything to harm you ever.
Probably the latter. But I think the other thing about it is I think that there's, you know, Ireland, I do think this, which is that Ireland sometimes is entirely, when it comes to technology, like the Healy Rays, where they kind of just go like, God, I wouldn't know a fucking computer from a fucking telephone if you'd have to ask me. But actually they are more savvy and aware than they're letting on, and are, you know, deliberately undermining this stuff. Time. But then the other thing is that they have I know I speak entirely in analogies and comparisons to other things, but thinking about the freedom of information request for the RTÉ player, and it's like why the bullshit reasons they give for not revealing what the program and, you know, algorithm, whatever the fuck is behind the RTÉ player. And my theory that it's like, because it's not GDPR compliant, there's no fucking way. You just know, like, there is, as well as them pretending they don't know about technology, there is also a lot of people in Ireland who don't know about technology and are now committing things that are incredibly illegal within the EU, and they're kind of just trying to conceal that, you know?
Oh yeah, so, I can imagine that.
So I could see a situation developing where, you know, we could be on the cutting edge of it, but that would not be of benefit if we were trying to attract tech companies. And also, we don't want to look too closely at it because we don't want to realize how fucking, exposed we are, but also liable we are to certain things. So it's kind of something that people would would be like happy to not pay any attention to, you know?
Yeah, big time.
One other point I wanted to make, well, actually, I'm not even going to bother making because we made it to a nice clean hour and it was a nice solid. Well, no, I'm going to make it. I'm going to fucking make. I'm just going to say that about where's my timer gone? One of the interesting.
We had a nice clean hour and you fucked it.
I fucked it. But there's an observation. I just wanted an observation, which was like the idea was like social media starts off and it used to be that there's the news and it's objective, but it's obviously not objective. The stories are there and these are the things that people talk about for the day. And as my dad said, there was a time when there was about 3 people in Ireland who would decide what the country would be talking about for the week, you know? So the stories were going out there, but people were only exposed to them in such a way. But then through social media, and you take a look at something like Black Lives Matter, where they're able to film this shit happening, you know? And all of a sudden, the public are generating stories and allowing this to happen. And it kind of evens the playing field a bit. It allows smaller stories to become bigger stories because of the focus that can be pointed on them, you know?
Yeah.
But what you're seeing here is social media adjusting and calibrating and now figuring out like, okay, how do we cut this off at the past? You know, it's like when Disney figured out how to juke the stats of Rotten Tomatoes, where, you know, it used to be Rotten Tomatoes was fucking up their scores because people were looking at their shitty movies and giving them bad reviews, and people were just like, I mean, how many people decide, oh, I'm not going to go to a Disney movie because of this bad review? But anyway, whatever. But what they decided then is like, they look down through the list of all the reviewers in America. They say, oh, that reviewer is sympathetic, that reviewer likes us. Fly them out to LA, show them the movie, and then they give a fawning kind of coverage to it. We selectively preview the films to people, and all of a sudden we come out and we're certified fresh on the first day. People come to it or are more likely to come to it. It's like, you know, you have this system which makes things equal, you know, for a little bit, and then they figure out, okay, how do we stop that? And the way that they stop that is by, you know, cutting off the avenues or limiting the avenues by which this can be exposed to people. The truth can be exposed to people.
Yes. Yeah.
That fucking, you know, Captain Marvel actually isn't really that good. You know, the truth is out there. You know. But anyhow, that's that. We should thank our patrons.
Oh yeah, what will be the theme?
My God, what will be the theme? And we have to be super snappy about this because we're already a tight hour. So, you know.
The theme will be technology.
Technology. Okay. Motherfucker, where are the patrons?
Okay, I have them here.
Okay, good.
Bridget Purcell.
Bridget Incel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Milky Fox.
Milk PC Fox. Milky Firefox.
Yes, that's a good one actually. Kyle O'Neill.
God damn it. Kyle.
Tile. What about tile? Like, you know, you tile an image as your background.
Tile O'Spiel, because you write spiels on Twitter and shit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Connor Barry.
Computer Barry.
Computer Parry.
Parry. My computer Matthew Perry.
Like your antivirus parries viruses, you know?
Yes, exactly. This is great.
Liam McCartan.
Liam McIntosh.
Mac.
Yes, we both did it, so it has to be the one.
Claire O'Neill.
Fucking hell. Ugh.
What about Clara New One? Just like a new computer.
What about Hardware or new one?
Yes, actually.
No,
I'm a gonna killer.
Niall McGillicool. Niall McIntosh. No, I can't do that again. Fuck.
Why not?
Yeah, Niall McIntosh. Gillicool.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about Niall McIntosh is cool?
Yeah, Mac is cool. Yeah.
Ronan Carey, Ronan Scary. Computers are frightening to older people.
Stop looking at your fucking phone. It's like scary,
Yeah.
like an episode of Black Mirrors. It's like the
That's
Black
it, but-
Mirrors.
Put down the phones.
Yeah.
Neve Kelly. Eve Kelly.
Neve Telly, because a computer is like a telly.
Yes, it's like a new telly.
Yeah, yeah.
Paulie Doyle.
Oh, I got one.
What about, here's one.
Yeah?
What about Smalley Coil?
I was
This
going to
is a
say that. That's crazy.
Yeah, like a coil.
Like a computer
So-
coil, probably.
Yes.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me, I need a new one of those.
Yeah. Yes,
I need
exactly.
a new,
It's the
I need a
very
new
common.
coil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Richard Zimmerman.
Fucking hell, Richard Zimmerman. Oh my god.
What about this?
Hmm.
Rich, hard, dim man. Because you need to be rich
Yeah.
and dim to buy a computer, and you need to be hard, like hard working to earn
Yeah.
money.
It was like erect, fully erect.
No, I wasn't saying that. I meant you work hard.
Yeah, I work hard.
Joe Joyce.
I had one here like 2 seconds ago. Jobs Joyce, like Steve
What about-
Jobs.
What about Gojo Joyce? Your favorite website.
Oh, don't. Let's not bring that up again. On a previously deleted episode, the last one, I revealed that I discovered a movie website when I was a teenager because I was actually trying to find out information on the new Garfield movie, and it was called joblo.com, and one of the it's still up and it's incredibly embarrassing, but it's like a bro movie website where they're just trying to be like the average Joe, and they used to have a thing called boobs of the day, and one of the articles, the opening, they were talking about where the Wild Things are, which was about to come out, and he's like, Spike Jones seems like a really cool guy I could have a slice of New York pizza with. And this was the website that I got all of my movie news off of for about like 10 years.
Well,
yeah.
secret's out.
Yeah. So Joe Blow Joyce. And Joe Joyce, do not visit Joe Blow Joyce. So that's that. Those are our patrons, and without this show couldn't be possible. I say. He lied.
Yeah.
But we will be doing exclusive Patreon content, and we're doing a fucking Charlie Haughey deep dive, which I'm very excited to do, and also going to watch that mini series, which should be on the fucking player but isn't. So make sure that you get over to Celtic Ligers, or patreon.com/Celtic Ligers, and sign up for a mere €5 a month, and you get all sorts of bonus content. Well, also give us a review on iTunes, because it helps the algorithm and helps people find the show, and we can get more patrons and do bigger projects, because we have some fucking ideas, let me tell you.
Yeah, one thing that always worries me is that the people who sign up for €2 don't realize that they're not getting an extra episode every week.
Yeah, but the €2 is for people who just want to give us a little bit of money. €5 is for people who want to get extra content and support the show. And then we have a €10 or €11 Generation Liger, where you will get a personalized political cartoon from the Ligers. And we'll be broadening out that political cartoon scheme very soon. Maybe we need to figure out something more for the 11 tier. But €5, is that too much to ask? I don't think so for the quality content we provide. But anyway, we're getting way over. So we're at about an hour 10 when we said we'd try and keep it a tight hour.
Yeah.
So let's just call it there. Thank you very much for listening. Tell a friend. That's it.